Roblox has thousands of experiences, varying in quality, but there are very few that reached mainstream success. And for one lucky creator in early May of 2025, seemingly out of nowhere, their game, Grow a Garden, didn't top Roblox, it went global. 2.5 million players at once, with 5 billion visits in just the first month. Its rise was meteoric. And then you actually play it. So how did this creator build a game in 3 days and accidentally break the Roblox player charts? Well, the answer is shadier than you may think. Hi, I'm Excelsi. I semi-sporadically make videos here on YouTube. And today, we're looking into the shady rise and potential implications that Grow a Garden will have on Roblox's future. Grow a Garden launched on Roblox around March 25th, 2025, credited initially to a teenage creator, BMW Lux, who threw together an idea of his over a weekend, and his idea started gaining traction. So much so that not long after launch, an infamous figure in the space, developer Jandel Madsen from Splitting Point Studios stepped in. It was under their influence that the game truly started to gain traction, putting Jansen at the forefront with him being put on as lead developer. He would be credited for most of the game's development going forward, although things wouldn't stay this simple for much longer. But before we can get to that, what is Grow a Garden? Well, at its core, Grow a Garden is an idle game, barely interactive, yet somehow addictive, with it falling within the simulator genre, which is popular within the Roblox ecosystem. The core gameplay loop has the player plant seeds, harvest after they grow into crops, and then sell them off to a shop where they can buy better plants that sell for more, where then the cycle repeats, while mixing in other mechanics such as pets and events, which serve to add complexity. The game is designed to simultaneously be played and left to play itself. In other words, you're rewarded for doing nothing. It plays like any other simulator, although this game is inherently more hands-off, with less of a reason to actually play the game, and instead have it running in the background, having you constantly check back in every so often to see what happened while you were gone. So you have a game that is inherently low stakes and hands-off, but has enough elements to spike that part of our brain that likes to see small numbers get bigger. And one of these elements would be events, which would run for a limited time, server-wide, incentivizing players to log on or miss out. The game was perfectly designed to blow up in social media, and it did, with videos getting millions of views. And with this added attention put on the game, in less than a month, its player count soared, although its full potential hadn't been fully realized just yet. Everything described up until now doesn't explain as to why this would happen, and why the game went mainstream. And for you to find out, you have to understand the two main things that Grow a Garden utilizes to hook its players, with the first tactic being, well, literally advertised all over the game's front page: crops grow offline. Why is this important? Well, basically every simulator before Grow a Garden would have you play the game to earn its currency. When you got to a certain point, most simulators would play themselves, sometimes being faster for you to just sit in a lobby and AFK. The main problem with this was that you had to AFK the game somehow. This wasn't very easy for mobile players, which make up a very large percentage of Roblox's player base. And, well, if you're not AFKing, you're likely not progressing as fast as you could be. Now, this is such a simple change, but instantly makes the game more accessible to a larger audience. And the second main tactic Grow a Garden uses is FOMO. As I mentioned earlier, the gameplay loop has you go to a shop that you can buy seeds from. What I didn't mention was that this shop, and basically all other shops in the game, operate on a 5-minute timer, and at the end of those 5 minutes, the contents of each shop are re-rolled and you're given a new selection. This game has varying rarities of seeds from common through to mythic, and through luck, you may roll a rare seed. This gives players a reason to stay logged in to see if you get lucky. And events only perpetuated players' FOMO, introducing time-gated seeds and limited time pets. Events only became more commonplace with time, creating more reasons to constantly come back to play the game, and coincidentally, this would be around the time that the game exploded in popularity. The concurrent player count broke past 1 million concurrent players in mid-May, 1.5 months after release. But fast forward 4 weeks later, and the concurrent player count didn't just double, triple, or quadruple. No, its concurrent player count increased by 21 times. Grow a Garden hit a concurrent peak player count of 21.3 million people online at one time, just over 2 months after release. To put that into perspective, everyone's favorite battle royale, Fortnite, only 6 months prior had broken its all-time peak concurrent player count at 14.34 million players. An idle farming game was pulling bigger numbers than one of the largest video games of all time. The bubble had finally burst, and the mainstream media couldn't ignore it any longer. YouTube videos and journalist sites wanted to get in on the story. Although, with this newfound popularity, it was only inevitable that the controversy would be soon to follow. And the question burning in everyone's mind was simple. How? Well, it's not like massive Roblox games didn't already exist. Take Bloxfruits and Glenhaven. These juggernauts have been around for years, slowly building their audiences, but Grow a Garden exploded overnight like nothing anyone had ever seen before. The allegations first came when content creators threw around botting accusations. And honestly, their logic wasn't terrible. How could a farming simulator organically pull bigger numbers than Fortnite, a game with exponentially more resources, marketing, and cultural impact? The math just didn't add up. This controversy peaked when a group of financial analysts, TD Cowen, stepped in and remarked about unusual account surges coming from the Southeast Asia region. In addition to raising serious concerns of Grow a Garden's potential manipulation of Roblox's discovery algorithm, this controversy would be superseded by something all too common among the top Roblox games: exploiting. Scripts spread everywhere. This completely distorted the in-game economy. This wouldn't necessarily matter, as the game isn't competitive, although this would give people an unfair advantage in progression. Although some would argue that they would partake in the use of exploits as a form of counterplay to the pay-to-win elements that arose with the Friendship update. This update introduced the Friendship Pot, an in-game item that cost 15 million shekels, which for the time was a lot. But it kinda ended up being useless. It only got uglier with the introduction of the Kitsune pet, which, for all intensive purposes, was a gambling event where you would have to buy an egg, which would give you a chance of rolling for multiple different pets, with the Kitsune being the best. Although slot machine mechanics aren't uncommon in Roblox games, the cost of these eggs, combined with the chance of rolling the best pet in the game, which was time gated to a limited time event, made the chances of getting this pet without spending any money very slim. Keeping in mind that this game is designed for kids. And most of these controversies happened after Do Big Games, a large corporation in the Roblox sphere, came in and acquired a share of the game's ownership. This group at the time was known for buying games and pumping them with microtransactions to aggressively monetize the game and make their investment back. Amidst the allegations, Grow a Garden would have competition. Its rivalry with Stealer Brainrot culminated in an admin war live event on August 23rd, 2025, pushing both games to their new highest concurrent player counts. Although, as the months passed, like many trends, the game's time in the spotlight had come to pass, and with Jandel shifting his attention onto Plants vs. Brainrot, the update slowed down. However you view the game, whether that be genius or predatory, will vary depending on your outlook. Whatever happens next to Grow a Garden is left to be determined, but one thing is clear: Grow a Garden's impact will have an effect on how Roblox games are designed going forward.